It's Tessa with hipover50.com talking to you about travel, mindset, and moving abroad. And in my case, that means to England. So you may have heard in the news that we have a new Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. Um, but how did he get into office? I mean, it's a little confusing, isn't it, that we've had three prime ministers in about 6 weeks? It's a little different than the US system. If you're familiar with that, in the US, a president is voted in by the people every 4 years. And unless something radical happens, like when Nixon had to resign because of Watergate, or somebody dies in office, or they're impeached, they have a 4 year term to serve, and that's it. Over here, it's a little different. So the people don't vote in the prime minister. So they have a general election here every 5 years. At that point, people vote for a member of parliament or their local MP. It's kind of almost like if we were to vote in, members of Congress, and then they did the job for us. They represented us. Here, people vote in, they can do either typically it's one of the two major parties, but there are four political parties here. But let's say you vote in a Tory or Conservative MP, and across the country, across the UK, more than 50% of the Tory MPs get voted in, then the Conservatives become the ruling government. How does it happen that we have multiple PMs? Well, the Prime Minister doesn't get voted in by the people, he gets voted in by the MPs. So let's say back in, was it August? Boris Johnson lost the confidence of his MPs. So they basically pressured him to resign. So he resigned. And then the MP said, we're going to take a shot on Liz Truss. We think she can do the job. So they voted her in. And she had her moment of fame for 6 weeks. And then they said, you know what, Liz, we really don't like the job you're doing. Could you resign too? So she resigned. And then they decided, okay, we're going to give Rishi a chance. So they voted in Rishi. That's how it happens. Now, at the same time, the opposition party, the other major party, the Labour Party, their leader is saying, hey, I think we really should have a general election. This is getting kind of ridiculous here. But unless the party that's in power has a 2/3 majority to call a general election, it doesn't happen. So he can squawk all he wants. I mean, there could be, I suppose, if people put pressure on their local MPs and said, yeah, we really want to have a general election. We want to be the ones to decide who the next prime minister is, or at least have some say in it. I mean, the last election, the last general election, Boris Johnson was actually already serving as prime minister because Theresa May had already resigned. So the general election just kind of confirmed that. So people felt they had chosen him, but they don't feel like they've chosen, Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak. So that is a little difference between the two countries. I mean, back in the day, the kings and queens kind of ruled the roost, didn't they? But then the Magna Carta came along, and they went, no, 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 you can't have all this power. So now the king or the queen is sort of the head of state, as it were, but not the head of the government. The prime minister is the only one that can make any decisions about governmental things. Now, they will go once a week and chat with the king or the queen and say, here's what's going on. But it's more of a formality, just as it is when they go to the king or queen and are formally invited to form a government. So I hope that helps clear up a few questions you may have had about how prime ministers get to play musical chairs over here in England and the UK. And if you have any comments, questions, or ideas for future videos, I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments below. And that's all for now. Bye.